we had a really, really good tour with the people from Maya Sound, where we saw what Cirque du Soleil had used Matrix 3 for in 2009. And that really convinced me, together with the Disneyland thing, that you could actually use this in a creative way, instead of just being a dull, boring player that can play back sound. So here we have a Dimitri system, which is a complete movable sound system with a lot of tracks, empty tracks where you just can play back sound to every speaker that you want. You have a complete matrix where you can send and route everything on and off all the way. And that really, really fulfills the dream of being able to move waves and move wind and sound and fish around the whole building. So actually, and one of the other good things is that when you suddenly want to turn this into a complete discotheque during once time in a year, where they have something called Culture Night here in Denmark, we can just press one button and the DJ can be playing all around the whole building at extreme levels with some really, really good speakers.
Okay, so you've got, in terms of speakers, we've got some MM4s.
We've got some MM4 XPs. We have around 50 of those placed all around the place. We have UP4 XPs and we have UP Juniors. We have UPJs, UMS, which is all in the Maya range, and we use the low voltage series all over. Okay. So we actually don't use that much power at all.
Wow, okay, so there's, I mean, they're all obviously active speakers anyway.
They're active speakers, but I mean, if we look at the current we use here compared to other museum installations we've been involved with, I think we're half of what we normally would be for such a place. One of the downsides being in a project for so long time, being in a project for at least 5-6 years, is that the development goes so fast, and nobody, I mean, if anyone had told me in 2009 that AVB would be ready to implant in this year, I wouldn't believe them. And I mean, in some sort of way it's available and it's ready to implant, but in some sort of way it's not. So we choose the really reliable way, and Copenhagen must say that it's reliable. It's old but reliable.
Okay, so that's the atmospheric and the general background sound we've talked about. But there are a couple of areas in the exhibit where there's some more focused sound. There's the presentation area in the big tank.
Yeah.
What have you set out to achieve there in terms of sound and the video stuff?
Well, we set up a system that covered the area. We choose that we won't use the speakers for the first row, so we actually choose them to be as narrow as possible, so we don't get too much reflection from outside, which also can be seen in the test result, where we actually are aiming really, really high for speech intelligibility. Actually, we are extremely high compared to what I expected. We set a limit set 0.65 on the scale, and we actually achieved between 0.9 and 0.84. So,
wow, okay.
So that's incredible. I mean, it's more than expected. So the acoustic that's been done by Gade Mortensen Acoustics here in Denmark, and Bo Mortensen's design for acoustics has really paid off. Also in the system, because there's not a system that are better than the acoustics. That's impossible. Yeah,
so the space defines.
It's space defined, definitely. And you can also feel when you walk around, I mean, today we've been walking around the space, and there's, I think, around 2,000 to 3,000 people inside now. And it feels crowded, but it doesn't feel noisy as if you were gathering 2,000 school kids on a play field. Sorry?
It's not an overpowering
level. No, not at all.
And that's a result of things like acoustic painting and treatment of the walls and the ceiling, and even the floor, right?
And the floor is also done. So, and the walls are really done with a big fat material that absorb the things. I can say that it's a really complicated project, and the details of this project is massive, because I mean, you just implant speakers that normally won't live more than a month in a house where you have an ecosystem. So you need to have, all the speakers need to be weatherproofed, IP67 approved, and all that. So you know that they will run for 30 years, which is the.
So that's good. That was the expected life of the system is pretty long here, right? How long is that?
30 years. Okay. Which is extremely long.
And what? And did you have to treat the speakers, like the Maya sound stuff, for the, I guess, for the rainforest?
Yeah, well, the Maya Sound have a really, really good development department, so they developed the treatment that was needed and tested that.
Okay.
So they have a weather protection that works. And we tested that out in Kronborg Castle here in Denmark, where we have a speaker standing around 8 meters from the ocean, and it's been there for 3 years now without any failure.
Okay, it's a pretty extreme test.
Yeah, so we know that it works, so therefore we are confident that, and that's another reason why we choose the Maya speakers here, is because they have the reliability, and we have the reliability in them. We believe that they actually are able to fulfill the thing here.